Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Business from the Bass Boat presented by Reclending on the Serious Angler Network. And guys, great show today. It is end of November. We're talking pre-holidays, pre-Thanksgiving, all the stuff's about to happen. We've got Christmas coming up, and not a bunch of people are getting out on the water, but I myself am going to try and sneak out this upcoming weekend, actually, and get out on what's supposed to be a sunny day. It's been real snowy, rainy, kind of fall, typical Idaho. And it's going to be sunny on Sunday. And I thought, man, I need to get out. I am fishing the BAM Pro 60 next year, and I need to be fishing more, especially forward facing and just everything else. I seem to fish better when I'm doing it more consistently. And so I'm excited to get out and do that. But this is the time of the year that I really enjoy in thinking through overall trends in the bass boat market, in lending, in what are we seeing in the fishing world, tournament world, all that stuff as we roll into 2025. And the guy that I love having on in this is Mr. Todd and the rec lending folks, because they are dealing with so many boats and loans, and they have a good pulse when it comes to what's happening in the market, what consumers are doing, number one. And then number two, a lot of dealer communication and what are you seeing? And so just something I've always had an affinity for, or what the heck's going on in the bass boat world as a consumer and someone who's trying to sell a boat, potentially buy another boat. These are all good questions I have. So this is also a very selfish show to get Todd on and talk through some of this stuff. But let's get Mr. Todd on. How are we today?
Wonderful. How about you?
And not too bad at all. Enjoying the fall a little bit and working hard. And so more than anything, just looking forward to the holidays, seeing family and all of that.
It's November. Man, what a difference a month makes.
Yeah, that is
a lot of difference.
That is something to talk about right away is post-election. That is something, gosh, that I mean, I've seen it in the real estate world, in conversations in the fishing industry. It's like, what a difference in sentiment, consumer sentiment, that I didn't realize election stuff has that much of a sway of, and in my opinion, at times, I think we put too much stock into it, but it really changes the overall consumer mindset when things are stabilized, I think, to some degree. Would you agree?
Oh, I agree. 100%. I mean, regardless of where you stand politically and your feelings on how the election went, it's over. And this is probably the first time in all the election cycles I've seen that we were absolutely bombarded. I mean, your phone, I was getting 50 and 60 texts a day, emails, the commercials. It was front and center in everyone's mind, whether they wanted it to be or not. And it's over now. And I like the way that I mean, I don't mind the way that it went, but I mean, I like the confidence now that's beginning to build within the industry, and just the folks' attitudes. I mean, they just feel relieved, and phone's ringing. I mean, to be honest, we're probably on par to have one of our best Novembers, and that's in this industry. You can't spend enough money to stir that up in November, December. It's got to be organic. And I'm really, really tickled with the way it's going. I mean, what are you hearing out there?
Yeah, I mean, similar to your statement in regards to November, December. I've heard that from a number of folks. Actually, a dealer here too was talking to, just related to, hey, what do things look like for you this time of year? And it's like, man, I don't have much going on when it comes to November, December. So it's interesting. It's the same cycle for you as far as when business slows down. I mean, it makes sense, right? People aren't necessarily buying boats. People are distracted with holidays. And that kind of a thing. It's kind of on a back burner. People are spending a lot of money on Christmas and Thanksgiving and travel. And so there's not necessarily also a glut of income that can be used to go buy a boat or those types of things too. So, I Go ahead.
We're 4, 5, 6 weeks on the front side of what happens. So the conversations begin to happen with us. Usually it's mid-December, and it seems to be happening a little earlier now, just because rates are coming down and the election's over and all those things. But we tend to be on the front side of it. So they begin asking questions now. If I wanted to buy this, what would it look like? If I borrowed this much money, how long would it take? Do I need to look at this dealer? I'm looking at this line of boats. You know, all those questions now are beginning to come up. So I bet that by mid-December again, that's when most of the guys that are planning their purchases, that's when they begin to start getting serious about it. I think we're in for I'm optimistic that we're in for a very good 2025. I really am. I'm very optimistic.
Awesome. No, I've heard a lot of the same. I've heard just the consumer sentiment has gone through the roof from just being comfortable and the idea of, okay, I feel more confident in the economy in the next couple of years, and therefore I'm willing to outlay capital to do something like this, right? I feel that my job is maybe a little more secure than I had felt. And wrong, right, or indifferent, that is the way people are motivated, and I don't think that's wrong in any way. But I think that is the sentiment that I'm getting, and the understanding, and the stuff that I've heard too, like post election. It's just like there's just a different kind of feel in general, right, on costs of things and how much of that inflation does come back down, and these types. It just seems like all of that. We saw a huge trend during COVID boom, when boat prices and everything exploded because there was a lack of demand or lack of supply and a massive amount of demand for everything. And it just seems like now things are coming down. And that, brings up a lot of questions in my head just in the first place with how expensive boats are and things. There's always excuses around costs and this and that, but it's like, well, boat prices have kind of come back down a little bit. What were manufacturers doing when they were so much higher, So I don't know. You have any thoughts on that? Like, that's something that I've always like. They're like, well, production costs cost more and this and that. And it's like, well, we just dropped like 10 grand on boat prices on this one. Like, so anyways.
It's the market. And I mean, as much as I may loathe it, you can't blame the manufacturers or the dealers in a market like ours where the margins are so thin.
Yes.
And for the first time since I've been in the business, those margins got to expand a little bit more, and they did a little better in that bass boat segment. Now, it's not going to hold, and it didn't hold, but it all settles back out again. That's the way it always works. I mean, back when I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, when the bottom dropped out of the prices, and they got their money back a little bit more, and now there's a lot of leftover inventory, so they're going to pay a little price for the ones that are left in the field. So there could be some buys out there that all even out. So if you were in the place to buy one when it was right and sell one when it was right, God bless you. But
you normally lose on one end.
we're going to fish anyway. It doesn't matter, and regardless of what it looks like or relatively how much it costs, we're going to go fish. And
Yeah,
that's the long and short of it.
No, I was talking about this with a friend actually today, and he's like, "Man, Adam, like, think about how financially set up you would be if you didn't fish." and I said, "Holy cow! Like, wow, I would be in a great position in a lot of ways and things." And
What fun would it be? I mean,
exactly, that's exactly what he said too. Is he's like, "But that's your thing, man, and you would
everybody
be
knows just save every nickel and don't go anywhere and don't do anything, and be that wise owl that does what he's supposed to do. That's good for you. But he who dies with the most toys wins.
great line."
Yep.
I love that. He who dies with the most toys wins. He had the most fun.
Said Todd. Don't tell my wife that. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what else can we get here? Let's get some new, UTVs and campers, boats. Like, come on.
Oh well.
It is almost Christmas, Todd. Maybe you should put that on your list.
No, no.
Oh
This is
man.
a tough time of the year for us, though. It's a tough time of the year for me because we're all the planning. I'm a planner. That's my build,
Yeah.
and so I'm trying to forecast what it's going to look like. I'm trying to plan for how much money we spend on the marketing budget and departmental budgets and all those things that go with it, and 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 the fact that we're making half of what we're spending just stressful. But it's also the funnest time of the year for me because I get to plan it. I get to try and anticipate what it is that's going to happen next year and see how close I can get to judging correctly without turning the ship over. So
Complete flipping it.
time of year. I mean, the folks, it's good for the folks because everybody gets to take a break and gets to relax, and they get this time of the year they get to take time off and be with family and kind of a lot of giggling and a lot of lunches and parties around the office. But because they know come January the lid comes off and it goes crazy again. So
Is that like your busiest time? Would it be January through like April, or when is the busiest?
15th of December literally is when it begins in earnest. And it'll go that way through probably the 4th of July.
Oh wow. Okay.
And it begins to taper off from there. Our probably the busiest months are January through May
Okay.
because of boat shows, and you get the boat show sales, you get all the ordered boats, and you get all that stuff put in the mix already. And then once the weather turns in April, May, and June, then they're walking into a dealership and buying things. So, but at the same time, the ordered boats are coming in, and the people that bought them at boat shows are taking delivery. So it gets kind of chaotic, but it's still that's when for me it's the funnest because I've got the least to do. I just got to kind of manage things and help out where I can help out and put fires out where I need to and negotiate when I need to negotiate with lenders and warranty
Sure.
companies, whatever. So
I love it. I love it. Guiding the ship, if you will.
yeah, yeah.
It's good, man.
The I
I was
think
gonna
I
go ahead.
the outlook I think from a rate standpoint,
Mhm.
I think it's going to continue to go down. Right now, the banks up till this point had built into the equation a different outcome in the election. So I think they padded their numbers pretty well. So immediately we saw some rates come down in November, quarter point, half point. And I think that they're staging it for some real special stuff for boat shows. So all of the lenders are saying the same thing. They're optimistic about it. They're certain they're going to come down. We're going to have some good stuff to show at for boat show season. So just hold on and wait. And kind of what I'm telling everybody to do too. So
I think about this too, but like you look at the stock market, you look at Bitcoin right now, and these things of just going on. What'd you say?
I'm glad I bought it.
I bought it. Yeah, I wish I would have bought more, like everything, right? But I that same friend I was talking to today bought when it was very low. Like we're talking $2,000-$3,000 a share low of Bitcoin. He's got a
Well,
couple.
back when it was that way, I was buying and selling. So I'd buy it, it'd go up, whatever it went up, and then I'd sell it off again. I just kept cycling it.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I probably should have just bought and held, but I mean, I still didn't do bad. You know,
No, yeah.
you know what? I gave TJ this information the other day,
Yeah.
but I do the same thing with Tesla.
Really? You buy and sell it?
I buy options on Tesla. So Tesla cycle. I mean, it cycles by $10, $15, $20 a share. So I'll buy in the money and just wait till it gets to a point where I've made 8, 9, 10%, sell it and wait for it to go back down again and do the same thing. Just keep going. And I was smart enough, and I'm not smart enough, I was just lucky enough that on November 5th, I bought some options on Tesla. I wish I'd have bought about 1,000 more. Okay.
Yeah.
And then on the 6th, it went crazy.
Ballistic.
Oh my gosh. But that's the smartest man of our generation, for crying out loud. How do you not bet on him?
It's so true. It's holy cow what that guy can do. No, that is wild, and that was a crazy run to see, and all these different things. It's fascinating to really pay attention to, just how consumer sentiment and markets react to things, right? Like it blows me away.
Oh yeah.
Man. So because I guess my thought, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I would almost think, and I really haven't paid attention to rates here lately, just from a mortgage standpoint, just in the last couple of weeks anyway, post election. So, but my thought with how strong the stock market's doing, all of this, all these things, to me, that indicates like, hey, going to have a kind of a bull run in the economy, and therefore then rates stay high or potentially go up higher to then cool off the economy, right, in a standard situation. So
No,
what's
we've been teetering on that recession now for the past 16, 18 months.
right?
I think it, to rev up the economy, the way they're going to do it, I don't think that's going to add to that. I think it's going to help flush out it's going to help flush out the negative that has brought us to the recession part. So fuel, we all know that by this time in June of 2025, that the energy market's going to go, the prices are going to go down.
Right.
We know it's going to. That's going to be goal number one for this administration. And whether you're a multimillionaire with a mega yacht and a private fleet of planes, or you and I and our bass boat, that directly affects our monthly nut. Really does. It's like getting a raise.
Right.
Gas goes down 50 cents a gallon, and that's a big number for a family. That's a big number for a company who's got company gas cards out there, or for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm optimistic. I'm not even cautiously optimistic. It's
Optimistic guy.
going to get better.
That's good. That's a good way to be. And I think, yeah, I do think that it seems like things are coming down price wise and whatnot. And that from the boat perspective is like, as much as it is a slow time, it's a great time to buy a boat. If anyone wants to buy I'm going to shout it out right here, a Phoenix 721 with a Yamaha, the brand new power head on the back, and a bunch of graphs and batteries, let me know. It's a great boat.
Send me pictures and all the data.
I will.
Give it to all the folks. And on that West Coast stuff, anytime somebody asks, we'll make sure.
Hey, I'll drive that sucker to the East Coast, baby. No, I do think I should post it in like California, though. There's a lot more bass boats there. I've thought about that because it's just in Idaho right now, and on some Facebook pages and whatever else. But yeah, I thank you. I will certainly do that on all the information on it. But
we've had extra stuff over the past couple of weeks from California.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I can't pin down why. We've had
probably because of the show, Todd, West Coast based.
Yeah. But we've also had a lot of fraudulent stuff.
Oh, well, that's not great. Those aren't our listeners. Those aren't our people.
Fraudulent things. they're getting more and more creative.
Dude, the fraud stuff
Police
scares
are
the
catching
crap
them.
out of me.
So
What's
you want
happening in the fraud world? Like,
well,
what are people doing?
stealing people's identities.
Oh, that's
And
terrifying.
look, just this past week, we've had two, right? Yep, we've had two out of California, and this is going to blow your mind. We know that it's fraud. Okay, we know that they've stole somebody's identity. We know that it's an ugly deal. So let's call the FBI and tell them we can string these folks along. You can catch them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's not a crime until they've committed it.
So they're not even going to try and
Oh no,
do it.
we know that over the past couple of months that we've kind of been targeted.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
and that's okay. I mean, we've got
You're a financial institution. That's what happens.
yep, we've got things in place to combat that and to catch it. But uh, we could have turned at least 3 or 4 rings over to the FBI just for them to, and nobody's interested. Nobody's interested. And even the
Really?
local police in California, not interested.
Wow,
So,
you even reached out to the local police on
oh
where
yeah,
these people were.
we got hit. Oh gosh, 2 years ago. I had to buy one back. So we're hypersensitive about it now, and we're extra careful with folks' credit. And the fellow who got hit, we made sure everything was good, and we took care of him. But we put some things in place that would make sure that we could try and do everything we could do to get around that. And doesn't matter. I guess the buck stops with us, and that's
Wow. That
yep,
sucks.
yep.
I guess that's just our
Did I
world.
tell you the story about the boat we got back?
Yeah, yeah. Let's hear this. So when you say you got it back, what
So
walk me through that.
well, we had to pay one off because it was a fraudulent deal. Somebody had stole somebody's boat or stole somebody's identity.
To buy
Customer
it.
in California had bought a boat from one of our dealers in Texas, and it was all kind of the guy actually never went and picked it up. He sent a service to go pick it up, and so 6 months or 8 months after the boat was delivered or the deal was done, the bank called and it had been a case of fraud where somebody stole somebody's identity. So we have at that point when that happens, we have to pay the boat off. We have to buy the boat, buy the contract back. So it was like $70,000,
Oh,
and in November or December, something like that. Anyway, I mean, not a time you want to write that kind of check, but that's what you got to do. And I wrote it off. There's no way that we're ever going to see that boat again. And so 3 months ago, September, something like that, uh, Cody got a call from a police department in Garden something, California. They found the boat sitting at a boat launch on the trailer, abandoned.
how long had it been abandoned?
I have no idea. So they said obviously it was a drug boat because it smelled like marijuana, and it was a 20.
Brand new boat.
Oh yeah, 20. It was a 24-foot Monterey. So
Oh
it
my
was a
gosh.
pleasure boat, jet drives. I mean, nice boat. It wasn't very old. And what are we going to do with it? They said. I said, well, I never expected to get it back. So, gosh, Ish Monroe.
Yeah, yeah.
Ish has got a dealership out there. So Dustin had called Ish, and we'd done a bunch of stuff with Ish, and he's a super good guy. So he
Great.
went and picked the boat up for us, took it back to his place, had somebody redo the trailer, get it all done, so it's trailable. And turns out the boat was in pretty good shape. And Ish has got a delivery guy it's, this guy drives Ish's boat to the East Coast so that Ish can fly in and out and fish what he needs to fish and fly home. Well, he was coming out to pick Ish's boat up, his new one. So he hooked up to that boat and brought it out here to us, and then went and
No
picked his
way.
boat up and took it back. So we got the boat here, and I,
So is it an office boat now? What happened to the boat?
I got it at a dealer. It's all winterized and shrink wrapped, and I'm going to wait to sell it in the spring when the pleasure boat folks come out. But I won't get my $70,000 back, I'm
No,
sure, but I'm going to get a whole lot wholer than I was 3 months ago. So
that is insane.
kind of a cool story though.
That's a wild
Cody
story.
told me we needed to wrap it in and call it the drug runner boat, or call it the Pablo's boat or something.
Pablo Escobar's. Yeah, exactly.
But
That's insane, man.
yeah,
Holy cow, that worked out. And Ish, yeah. So be fishing against Ish a bunch next year and have in the Toyota series, but now with the BAM Pro Tour, so he's fishing both that and then all of his kind of his stuff he does back east and flies, like you said, in between. But what a great guy, man. Every time I run
yeah,
into him,
he's
he's
such a
super
good dude.
positive
He's
and
so funny.
fun guy. Yeah.
So you're going to fish the what is the BAM Pro 60? Is that what it is?
Yeah, BAM Super 60. And yeah, man, I'm fired up for it. It's 5 events, 4 events, and then a championship, but it's all across the West. So it'll go California, Arizona, Oregon, Columbia River in Oregon, and then back to California for Delta Clear Lake. Um, so yeah, I'm fired up to fish it. I'm excited. It'll be fun fishing at that level. It's 50 grand for first place. It's a 90% payback in a tournament series, which is
Oh, nice.
very hard to find out there. I don't know if anyone is doing that, quite frankly. And he's really doing a good job. Mark's cranking with the media and everything else. He's really bringing a pro tour to the West. You've got Bryant Smith fishing it, Roy Hawk, certainly some big names and guys that are kind of doing both. I think Bryant only has one conflict with the Elite Series, which will be good that he's not
Is
there
it
for one
individual or
at
team?
least. So it's individual,
Okay.
one guy only fishing. Have to have boat, wrapped jersey rather, and they're doing everything with it, video wise. Then it goes actually on a TV show and then onto YouTube as well. And the format is interesting though, and this is where I'm trying to wrap my head around it. And I went and did a live podcast at the Columbia River event, and got to kind of see some of it firsthand. But it's the first 2 days. So here's what I love about it. Number one, there's no practice, off limits for 30 days. Show up at the lake. Off limits for 30 days. You roll into town on a Thursday night meeting, and then tournament starts Friday, and you qualify to make the top 10 on Sunday. And how you qualify is either based on weight or number of keepers. So it's kind of a hybrid format for the first 2 days. So you kind of got to decide, am I going to go bang a bunch of 2-pounders, or am I going to go chase, 4 and 5-pounders?
Oh man.
So changes the game up a little bit there, and think through that. And that's all done on the Tourney X platform, if you will. And you still weigh your biggest 5 at a weigh-in stage. But like if you're catching them, you've got that. So you kind of got to decide. And then on the final day, it's just weight. And weights are zeroed, by the way, on the final day. So weights are zeroed. You roll in, and it's fishing for 50 grand against 9 guys, and the weights are zeroed. And you started with 60. So I'm super, super fired up for it. I think it's super
You gonna be
unique.
the best weight for 5 on championship day, or do you got
Yep.
to? Okay.
It's only big 5 on the championship day. So if you were catching them all your keepers, right, and that was your pattern, and now it's like, well, I got to go punch for big ones or wherever you're at, figure out a way to catch big ones. So,
That would take some thought.
dude,
Even if you're
it's
catching 2-pounders, you've got to have something. You got to stash something there somewhere. Or
that's
if you're catching big ones, do you wear them out?
right. You got a chance to win it potentially.
That's kind
So
of cool. That's kind of
it's
cool.
a neat format, no net either. So I've this winter, that's another one of my goals. I haven't been fishing as much as I'd like, but I'm getting out Sunday. But like my net's out of the boat. I don't have a net in my boat right now. I'm just learning how to land smallmouth. And and largemouth I'm not as worried about, but smallmouth on the Columbia River, like they are freaks, right? And so I did a lot of that last year of trying to catch them with my hands and doing the whole football grab and all that. So it's been um, fun to learn some of that. So I'm excited, man. I'm fired up for it. I think it's a great format, spread out well to where I can still be working, doing the podcast. We're also going to try and do a podcast while we're at each one of those. So see if we can get that all dialed in too. It'd be fun.
Yeah, that's a distraction. Well, that'll add to the pile.
The pile of a messy life.
Well, you'll probably what'll end up happening is you'll end up scheduling a podcast for day 3, and you'll make a championship, or you're getting ready for the final round, and you're going to be a ball of nerves, and that'll be a great podcast to watch.
Oh, you're telling me, man. That's exactly why, like, if all works out, we've talked about internally, it's like, okay, if we do this kind of on the serious angler show of a Western side of things or whatever we end up figuring out there, it'd be nice to have Bailey there or somebody there to where I'm not having to do everything and think about it if I do make the final day, right? It's like I kind of want to be focused up here. So it'll be great though. I'm excited. There's some great guys fishing it, and
Do you fish better uniquely focused or relaxed?
I fish better relaxed, certainly. I fish better. I mean, being very focused, but like I think everyone has this to some degree. But I'm curious yourself. But say it's just a tournament. Doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday night or whatever it is.
Yep.
If I've got 5 in the box, I'm dangerous, man. Like I feel so much more comfortable. I can go chase big ones or whatever I need to do. But like if I don't have 5 and I'm trying to figure it out and whatever else it may be, like that's when I seem to not be as dialed. So I guess that just being relaxed, because I get more relaxed after having 5,
Sure.
I guess is my point.
I've made it my goal now to just have fun with it.
Mm.
And it's amazing how much better I fish just going to have the guy I fished with and I, it's always been about the stories. As long as at the end of the day we can tell a funny story about what happened in the boat that day. But we just want to go get 5 bites. Whatever happens after that, then happens. And just changing that in how I fished has been I'm having more fun, but I'm also winning a lot more money. So just
That's wise advice, man.
it's just
Something we talk about all the time. Having fun with it.
well, imagine how wired up you get prior to an event. You got the meeting, you got the all the stuff that goes into the meeting. You got all the ego that happens at the meeting. You've got all of the pomp and circumstance and all the things that happen. And all that does is add to that level of stress. And if you can find a way to set that aside and just go fish, I think I got to tell you about a kid up here though.
Okay, let's hear about it.
High school kid. He's won everything in the high school ranks. He just graduated from high school. Getting ready to move. He's going to fish the opens this year. So if it's within 50 miles of here, it's kind of our water. I'm not intimidated by much of anything. This little kid, and I mean that with all the kindness I can give you, absolutely stomped Tom and I this fall.
Love it.
Doing our stuff. And it was amazing. You know what I mean by bumper boats. So I'm trying to push somebody off a spot very gently and be kind about it. And, this kid pushed me like I've never been pushed before. And I've been doing it for 40 years.
I didn't care.
Oh my God. At 18 years old. And then just absolutely, he's a phenom. I mean, I grew up with Kevin and Randy. So I've seen what a phenom looks like. Kevin is a phenom. He just, who's going to do it like that? This kid's going to be some. He really just a nice young man. He's got his was angler of the year for all his college years. He won 2 or 3 of the college events already, and God, he's 18 years old. He doesn't look 18. He looks like he's 14 years old. And you know how he beat us?
Huh.
With live scope.
Right. I would assume that. Yeah.
With a 10-inch glide. Now, I love to throw a swim bait. Okay. Matter of fact, every time I fished against this kid, I've always started with a big glide. Started with I like to throw a Roman early.
Oh,
And nope. He absolutely kicked the snot out of us. So I'm anxious to say that we're going to do something with that young man this year.
Nice.
He's going to fish the opens, and I'm kind of anxious to see what happens with him and hope we can kind of guide him along a little bit. But real nice.
Is he fishing both sides of it, or is he fishing? Oh, wow. So he's doing the gauntlet. Wow. That's awesome.
He's committing. So
that's really cool, man.
It's kind of it's a tough getting in for your first time is probably the hardest, but we're going to try and help him as much as we can on the inside to try and get him there. But nice young man.
Cool. And what's his name?
Ryland. His last name kills me though. Hang on.
I'll have to get him on the Serious Angler Show.
I'd be happy to put him on there.
Yeah. Have you been able to get out at all this fall, fishing wise?
Last time I was out was last week in October, and I've not been out yet since then. Scott Dobson called me last Thursday, actually, the night I got sick. And he says, you got to come over Friday. When was the Tyson fight? Friday night? He said, come on over Friday. We'll watch the fight. We'll go out Saturday and fish. He said, you're going to catch a 7 or an 8. He said, they're absolutely eating. It's amazing. I said, all right, I'll be there. And I got sick. I had to get to text him that morning. He said, man, I can't come. There's no way I could be in a boat today. And he's stomping them. He's still out. He's still guiding. He's going to go until ice is up. So probably late November, early December anyway. So
wow, just banking. Good for him.
It's Ryland. I don't have his last name. I'll have it for you later. But talk to him. Nice young man. Real nice young man.
Cool.
So who are you going to have for sponsors?
Man, fishing wise for the BAM tour, you mean, or for serious stuff? Yeah, for the BAM tour right now, we've got a kind of a group started. Still looking for more, certainly from that perspective. But number one, right now the hat I'm wearing is Levi. Well, it's actually Jones Marine, but Levi's the owner there, and super fired up about that. It's a local service shop here in Idaho, in Nampa, Idaho, which is right in the Treasure Valley, Boise, kind of that center of things, right? And he is killing it when it comes to servicing boats right now. Just a super hardworking guy that is great with getting things taken care of, right? Like, I don't know, at least in this region, I think in the boat industry in general, there's a lot of issues that end up not getting all the way taken care of and those kinds of things. And he strives to really have a great service mentality when it comes to things on boats. And so he's doing everything from rigging electronics to doing your oil changes, services like that, working on boats, shrink wrapping in the winter time. He's a Mercury dealer as well now. So doing a little bit of that on the side of upgrading or repowering.
I think I have an appointment to talk to him on Monday, don't I?
I think so, man. I think that's exactly right. To pick his brain a little bit just on the industry in general. He's kind of looking at the potential of other things, right? And getting a little bit broader and bigger in his business. So
sure.
But great guy, and super excited for that. In addition to that, some other local brands, and then of course, in relation to our partners on the Serious Angler, have involvement there as well, just to kind of keep everything together. So
when do you have to have all that in place?
Got to have it in by, well, first tournament would be, first BAM tour is the first week of March. So probably a month before that. I think we have to have our profiles updated and photos with jerseys
How
and
long
that
do
kind of
kids do
stuff.
wraps and that stuff?
Did you say how long?
How long?
Yeah. I mean, I think it shouldn't be, I should be scheduling it. I think for sure in January is my time frame when I need to get my stuff figured out, certainly.
Well,
But
next week is going to really, really be bad for me, but let's talk the week after too, please.
let's do it, man. Appreciate that.
We need to finish our stuff up anyway on
Yeah.
the Dreysse Angler side, but
Podcast side. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there's other things we can do probably.
Awesome, man. We'll
So
certainly
what's your plan for the holidays? What are you going to do?
back to Colorado, man. Headed back to Colorado, see the family. Super excited there. My brother got married this summer, and so he and his wife moved to Colorado. So they're close to my parents as well as my sister and her boyfriend. And so I'm kind of the one out of Colorado now in Idaho. Everyone was out. I moved out. Now everyone's back. So I'm going to spend some time there. This time of year, real estate wise and podcast stuff I can do from just about anywhere. So be there for a while. If I need to fly back, I fly back. But getting in on an elk hunt in Wyoming while I'm there, as well as an antelope hunt, late season antelope hunt in Colorado. Hopefully get my brother his first elk, which would be awesome. So looking forward to some family time and yeah, got a lot. What about yourself?
It's all family. For Thanksgiving, I think everybody's going to be at the cottage. I don't think we're doing it on Thanksgiving Day. I think we're doing it the weekend of. So all the kids are married now, so try and spread the joy.
Sure.
And Christmas, probably same thing. I mean, we'll probably everybody get together and hang out at the cottage for a couple of days or a week, and then Joe and I'll probably spend a week up there by ourselves and just hang out and enjoy the solitude that is northern Michigan in the wintertime. So
Yeah, how does that work? And I mean, is it a pain to get around? I mean, what is are you having to shovel consistently? I mean, I could just imagine, like, look, man, I live out west, there's snow and that kind of stuff, but some of the cold and snow that you deal with in that part of the world blows me away.
I've got a skid steer.
Okay.
So and I'm not gonna lie, that's as much fun as you can have with your clothes on. I mean, the more it snows, the happier I am because I get to spend hours out in the Bobcat. But yeah, this time of the year, where we're at anyway, we're on the west coast of Michigan, so we're up against Lakeshore,
Yep.
and about we're almost up to the Traverse City area,
Yeah.
and we're right in the middle of 20 acres, and we'll go an entire week without seeing another car.
I love that.
It's
That's
just it's
fantastic.
so quiet and it's so calm, and it just if you really want to decompress, that's the place to do it. And
That's the getaway.
so take the dogs and just wander through the woods and play on my
Yeah,
bobcat.
that's
Fun.
living. And
Yep.
and you spend a lot of time up there in the summer then too, right? Like that's where your party was and all
Oh
kinds
yeah,
of stuff.
Jody and I are trying to. We're practicing retirement.
Semi retirement.
I say that, but I mean, the kids do a really good job of running our business.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not the running of the business that I think they need to learn. I think what they're working on now is the personal relationships, learning how to manage themselves amongst the employees. So the more that Jody and I get a chance to be away, the more they get to practice that and the more they get to take that role, and it's just better for them. So Jody and I we like to surprise them and say, hey, mom and dad aren't going to be here for a week, you know,
Good luck.
on Friday, have fun, holler if you need something or not.
Or don't. Either way.
Yep. But that's kind of the position we're going to take this year, just because as we get closer to it, there's the nuances of the business they need to learn. They do a really nice job of taking care of the folks, and they do a nice job of managing the business. Now they just need to learn how to gosh, they're going to see this and really yell at me, but they need to learn how to get along. And I mean, my daughter and my son are completely opposites in terms of personality, which seems to be a bit of a rub for them now. And once they figure out that each one of them has strong suits that the other doesn't have, it'll click. But they're still in that competitive rub mode. They're working out of it. They'll get there, but oh well. So we're letting them practice.
There you go. Dude, I love this conversations with you in general because we never, we generally have topics to start with and talk about, but like that's something that not everyone shares, right? And you're very open about like, hey, here's what's happening with the business, passing it down, and that's the family dynamics in passing a business down is a whole, rabbit hole.
It's I can't tell you how stressful it is because
I can only imagine.
when you, at least for me, when you've put your heart and soul into something for so long, and I'm not embarrassed to say this is my baby. These are my relationships. These are the things that I've worked hard for. To turn those over to someone else is incredibly difficult, and I struggle with it, and I work with it as much as I can. But the reality is, I don't want happening to them that I've seen happen in so many other family businesses where the next generation ruins it, or the next generation doesn't understand the impetus and character that you need to carry on to take it to the next level. I don't want them to do what I do. I want them to do it their way, but I also want them to do it with the underlying thought that you, in my mind, I've always ran this to the betterment of an industry and the betterment of the customer, so that their need and what's going to happen to them will always come first. And I want them to understand that. I want them to know that that little bit of extra that you give that guy, that even if he was a pain in the neck, it will pay off. And that person a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now is he's gonna realize it. He's gonna understand it. And he's gonna be thankful for it, and it'll pay a dividend in the long run. So it's tough. I'm a control freak. I'm an old Marine, for crying out loud. I mean, it's my way or the highway. But I'm getting over that. Okay. So,
We're working through that stage right now. You're like, I gotta give up some control here. If I'm gonna actually retire, I guess I gotta give up some of this.
yep. Yep.
And how many years do you think you have in it, Todd? How many more
How
years
many,
of
how many do I have left?
yeah. Well, no, not like not that kind of like not when you die. I'm saying like what about when it comes to the being involved and that
I
stage
think
of life.
in some degree or another, I'll always be involved, just because, just whether I'm working the day-to-day stuff or not, I really enjoy it. I love talking to the guys on the phone. I mean, I just I I dig being plugged in. I love solving problems. But as far as having an influence on day-to-day activities, there's probably 4 or 5 years left, maybe. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Let's see how the economy goes and see how things progress. But if I die tomorrow, it'll be fine.
Sure.
I mean, we've left enough of a legacy in terms of how we treat people and what the business model looks like, that I think it'd continue. But
Absolutely.
I want to keep my thumb on it just a little
Yeah,
longer.
yeah. Stir the pot. I like it. Oh, well,
They call it, Cody calls it, I'm going to be a seagull owner.
okay.
So
What's a
I'm going to
seagull?
fly in and shit all over everything and fly away.
That's fantastic. That's a
So
new term. The seagull owner. I've never heard that. I love that. Man. No, but
Oh,
I think your point there resonates with a lot of people who have built a business, right? It's the show is really about. It's like you you were there when it was nothing and built it up to everything, and it's hard to let go of that control. But it shows the reason you were a big reason, in my opinion, why you were so successful is the fact that, like you just said it, you love it. You love talking to people. You love figuring out the problems. You love this industry, and that is what has propelled you, right, to keep going when things are tough. But like it's great to hear that, right? Like you think at some point, or I'm glad you found something like that for yourself, because I feel like a lot of people get to the point where they're just burnt out and they're done, right? And it's just like, no, I've been able to keep this a very fun, passionate thing for me as it's grown and been a part of my life.
oh, I. It's not lost on me that I've been able to find enough to feed my interest and the fun part of it for me for all these years, and and develop that part of it, and make a living off it and help some folks. And I really and truly believe that we really do help some folks. In the meantime, I get to talk fishing with guys all over the country, and I get to talk about how boats ride and how they drive and what props we got. I did. That's all I do all day. That's just cool. I mean, I don't care who you are. That's just cool.
That's
So,
good stuff. That's why I'm here. This is exactly those conversations, right?
okay,
Um,
so let's talk about your boat.
oh boy, here we go. Let's talk
So,
about
y- y- I'm guessing because you put it up for sale that you've turned the you've turned the corner. You're going to buy some.
I think so, and they're still right. Like there's a chance where it's like, hey, I'm okay with running this boat again. There's nothing wrong with the boat. I have no issues with doing that. Just to that point, right? Of like contingency money becomes a factor at tournaments of this level, right? Having a new motor that is a part of a contingency program, a new boat that's a part of a contingency program, the new electronics that come out, right? Like all of those things are kind of where I'm getting to that point of like, do you make that switch or not? And so that's where I'm at with things. I've got, a good conversation with a boat brand right now about getting into a boat. And so that's where my head's at is like, do I make this jump now? Do I do it next year? Do I try and do it in the spring, but I got to wrap a boat? So I'm kind of, that's where I'm stuck.
What uh, what brands are you trending towards?
Yeah, I mean, right now, quite frankly, the one that I have looked the furthest into is actually a Falcon. We've had numerous shows with the Falcon guys. I think they're great individuals, and I've heard just a lot of good things. And they don't really have a presence on the West Coast, right? Like they're mostly an East Coast brand. They're from South Carolina,
Yep.
but it's a price point boat, which I like. It doesn't have a bunch of crazy fancy things. It's, toggle switches, your typical stuff. It's a big wide boat. They ride great. And those types of things have all got me excited about it. And so, quite frankly, I've looked at Falcon, I've looked at Skeeter. I like Phoenix a lot. I run a Phoenix. I have no qualms with Phoenix whatsoever. The new 721 Pro XLs got me interested, just because it's a price point. Again, like for me, I want a boat that runs great that I can compete out of, but I don't need it to be $100,000 boat. Um, I need a couple of graphs and I need to be with what I'm looking for. And so those are some of the brands that I've looked at. I've looked at Bass Cat. I've looked at plenty, but those are kind of the top that I've leaned a little bit more towards right now.
Good. Good. It's a whole different animal when you've got to factor in industry industry stuff as well.
Mhm.
It's it's kind of nice to be able to say I want this boat because I like it, not because I need to have it for contingency money or for a relationship
Sponsor.
or
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
what. But that's the business of the bass boat, though. So you've kind of made that switch. You've made that. So just make wise choices. You'll do fine.
We'll be all
I do
right.
for you if you need me to.
Exactly. No, exactly. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think I'd be perfectly fine running my boat again, but I'm also kind of teetering on that, and I'm feeling a little late. Probably should have started a little earlier on selling a boat, right? Like you just said, we're in a hard time to sell a boat, November, December. But you know, maybe sell it this
But
spring.
it only takes a couple of days to get one sold. So, I mean, it's not like you're behind the power curve. So put
Yeah,
it in front of the right person at the right time and the right scenario, and all of a sudden the boat goes away. So
this is true.
don't panic.
No panic.
Don't panic.
We'll be all right. Okay.
You just got one that runs. So
This is true. This is true. We got a new power head. It's great. So I will certainly though send it over to you. And just if anyone that you know of has any interest in a sweet colored boat, an awesome 2018 Phoenix with a brand new power head on a Yamaha, I will absolutely fire that over. But it is
whatever picks you got too.
I will.
I'll make sure all the sales folks have everything they need. They keep a running list of stuff that's available.
Dude,
So
I've heard that from, by the way, from friends, from folks that have listened to the show. Someone, I'm trying to think who it was, a guy to Texas. Someone had sold or had, hey, Adam, I just wanted to reach out and let you know your Reclending guys, they ended up selling my boat for me. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, same exact deal. Like you said, look, if you have a boat that you're trying to sell or whatever, we're talking to people buying boats every day. Like you may as well give us some info on the boat and we'll
well,
bring it up.
half of the conversations that we have with folks on the phone is, okay, I'm going to start the buying process. I'm going to be looking for a boat like this. What am I looking at dollar wise? What am I looking at payment wise? What's the loan look like? How much money do you think I can borrow? Those kind of, we have lots of preparatory question phone calls. And inevitably, they're going to say, well, I'd really like 819 Phoenix with a whatever, or that's my dream boat, or that's the boat I'd really like to have, and I'd really like to spend this much money. And they keep a running list of when those folks call, well, I've got a boat I've got to sell first. So take that information down and they write it down. And before you know it, they're just lining up. And
Brokering deals.
yeah, and all it does is help folks. One gets moved, one gets bought, another one gets bought. Before you know it, it's a chain reaction of things, and everybody wins.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. Everyone
I've
wins from
tried to
that.
find a way to to build that into a business model, but I don't know how to. I don't know how I could do it. I mean,
Right.
I've
Right.
I've not found a way to monetize it, but it
That's
helps us anyway. So
you're brokering deals, right? But you're doing it for free. But the benefit is you are likely going to earn the business of the individual buying the next boat, right?
absolutely, and
So
we make a great relationship, and 90% of those folks, they'll give me another chance when they're buying their next one. So it's a win. So,
no doubt. That's
so,
good stuff.
so what about Christmas? What do you do for Christmas?
Man, this is all new to me being full time in Idaho now. So I will go back as well. So I think what I'm quite frankly going to do, Todd, is I'm going to fly in. I don't have my flight back yet from Colorado, so I'm going to fly into Colorado with all my hunting stuff, which will be interesting in the first place to fly with. I'm not bringing a firearm, which is good. I'll just bring all my stuff that I need and can borrow a firearm there. But flying in with everything, and then I'm going to stay ideally until Christmas, so almost a month. And then if I have to fly back in between for something, I will. But my plan is I haven't booked a flight yet, but I'm thinking kind of right after Christmas timeframe and just spend the month in Colorado, see family, see everybody, enjoy it, work from home there. My parents, my brother has a house, we've got plenty of room, that kind of a thing. So um, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Sounds like a great holiday season.
Yeah, man.
It really does.
You same deal up at the cottage for Christmas?
Same deal. Same deal. I mean, Jordan, I think we're going to take a trip sometime in January somewhere, but we haven't
Nice.
pinned that down. We have a new puppy,
Oh, what kind of dog?
golden doodle,
Oh, man.
black golden doodle.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Oh my
Huh.
God. What a
You have to send me
handful.
a picture.
What a handful. You
I
forget what puppies are like. So I
That's
don't
bold.
I'll handle the puppy side of it, but we'll see, and we'll figure it out.
That's what my parents.
Boat shows start first weekend in January, so it's going to get wild and crazy again.
All gas, all
Yeah.
gas. A lot of still rebates out there for folks interested in boats right now. I've seen Phoenix, I think Bass Cat, Skeeter. Like there's definitely some rebates on fall end of year kind of stuff, you know.
I've talked to 3 or 4 of the big manufacturers this past week, and they're planning on doing some stuff for the boat shows. I don't think it's going to be as wild and crazy as it was last year, but I think there'll be some promotional stuff coming out, either rebates or finance options or whatever. So it's still going to be, there's not as much pull through in the dealer inventory now as there was last year. So it's a little cleaner than it was. So they don't have to get quite as aggressive, but that's good for everyone. I mean, that means that the dealers are still going to be in business. That means that we're going to get refreshed inventory and we're going to get the latest and greatest and that's out there. So, but there'll still be some deals.
Got it. Awesome, man. Well, dude, let's wrap things up. Always enjoy having you on, catching up. I feel like this is just as much as an informational deal as like, man, I get to talk to Todd for an hour. This is
I think you and I could chit chat about anything, couldn't we?
There's no doubt about it, man. So really appreciate it. And man, hope you, if I don't talk to you beforehand, have a fantastic Thanksgiving and enjoy the time in the skid steer. That does.
We'll have to get together after the first of the year and kind of do a boat show preview show and what it's looking like from a 2025 perspective and wrap it up or we'll do some
predictions. Predictions would be fun. And then we lean back into them.
Prognosticate, is that what they call it? We'll just kind of dig in and see how close we get. Fair?
I like that. I'll come up with a list. That's a good idea. We should get a panel of people and just say how what do we think is going to happen, and then see how close we get prediction wise, and see how horribly off I am. So I'm excited to see that.
It'll be fun though. Doesn't matter how far you off you are. So
it's true.
Adam, right. It's been a treat. Thank you. Have great holidays. Stay safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
You're gonna say that. You're gonna say something my dad always says, and this is exactly what it is. Nailed it. Love it. All right, Todd.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. We'll talk to you later.